Okay, Unit 6 Assessment Review. Numbers 1 through 4, write an inequality for the graph. Well, you need to see the graph if you're on virtual. Okay, there's a graph. Okay, now again, you want that one sheet that tells you what direction to go. Okay, you have it. So if it's going that way, we put x -7. Going that way, we have to open the sign towards the value. Okay, we don't put the line because it's not filled in. Okay, now we put x and 2. When it goes that way, we open the sign towards the variable. Fill it in because it's line. And when they spread out, that's an OR. So we put x2, that way is open towards the variable, no sign. That way is open towards the value with the equals. Okay. Now when they combine, we just put x down once, -3 and 2. So 2 is the biggest of them all, so we have to open towards 2. He's not bigger than anything, so don't open anything towards him. You have to open towards the x. No lines because they're both open. Okay, now the next part, you're solving the inequality and graphing your solution. Graph solution. Okay, so we're going to make the boxes of doom here. Okay, so number 5. We have x plus 3 less than or equal to 16 with the number line. There's only one symbol, so no table is needed. X is over here. Between the x and 3, there's a plus, so there's no multiplying, no dividing to worry about. So we just circle the x and get the 3 to a 0. Remember, sign doesn't, we don't have to worry about the sign changing if there's no multiplication or division. So you got 13. Okay, the sign is open towards the value, so that's this way, and just put that label to graph. So you can see, okay, if we pick 5, 5 and 13, 13's bigger, opens to 13. Okay, number 6, 81 greater than or equal to -9x. So I make the wall on this side between the 9 and the x, that's a times, okay. Now, we need to circle multiplication because I need to decide if I need to keep the sign or switch it. Since it's a negative, we switch it. Now, is there any number outside on this side that you have to get to 0? No, there's not, so we go straight into dividing and then come down here. So there's not that middle step. So -9, -9. If x is after the symbol, you keep it after the symbol. Whoops, I didn't switch it, my bad. Okay. Okay, again, that's a switch. I should have switched it. Okay, I'll switch it here. So I have x after the symbol, and then -9. So we have -9, we circle, we fill it. It's open to, I know that's a less than, but it's open towards x, so x can be, x is the higher value. It'd have to go that way. Okay, 7, -1/4 x greater than or equal to 8. Actually, I want to change that problem. Okay. I want to change it to x over -4 greater than or equal to 8. Okay, just, yeah. Okay, so let's make a wall on the x side. Between x and -4 is division. Now, like multiplication, you want to circle your division and decide if you should keep the sign or switch it. Well, we have a negative, so that's a switch. So there's no number outside the division operation that we need to get to 0. So if we have division and we have to solve, we do multiplication. And again, the sign switches because we're multiplying by a negative. It's like dividing by a negative. So that's -32. Circle, fill it. And it's open towards the value, so that would be this way. Again, multiplication division operations need to be circled, okay, at that point, because you need to then decide if you're going to keep the sign the same or flip it. Okay, number 8, 2x less than or equal to 4x plus 10. Okay, now it starts getting, now there's x's on opposite sides, so we're not ready to make the wall. Usually we get the smaller one to 0, but if we do that, there's not going to be anything over there, okay? So let's get the 4x to 0. We would subtract it. Now at this step, I'm just dropping the sign, because negative 2x and 10. Now I can make the wall. Now what are my 2 and the x is multiplication. That's the only operation over there, but you do need to circle it. And since it's by a negative, the sign switches. There is no number you have to add or subtract to 0, so we go into the dividing by negative 2. And now x is by itself, so it comes down here, negative 5. Circle fillet opens to x, so that would be this way. So x can be any number going that way, like negative 3. If I put a negative 3 in place of the x, negative 3 is a higher value and the sign is open towards negative 3. Okay, number 9. 6 parentheses x minus 1 is less than negative 18 plus 6x. So we have to get rid of the parentheses, so it's going to be 6 and 6. Okay, you're going to put 1 in front of the x and make it plus negative inside, so I see the plus. So 6 to 1x, 6 to negative 1. So it's going to be 6x and negative 6. So I drop the plus down, 6x, negative 6. That's done. Now over here you got negative 18 plus 6x. Now we have x's on each side of the inequality. Now look for the smaller one, but there isn't, so we ditch the x's. You also ditch your number line at that point. You're not going to need that. So it's all solution or no solution. Okay, what's a higher value, negative 6 or negative 18? It'd be negative 6. Is a sign open to negative 6? No, it is not. It should be, but it's not. So that's a no solution. Okay, number 10. Negative 1 less than or equal to x minus 3 less than or equal to 2. Now when I see 2 of these buggers in the same problem, I want to make a table underneath it, because I need to split them into separate ones. So we got negative 1 with x minus 3. Then we're going to have 2 over here with the same expression, x minus 3. Okay, so x is on this side. Between the x and the 3 is a minus, so make it plus negative. Now there's no multiplying, no dividing. Okay, so let's just get the negative 3 to a 0. So if there's no multiplying, dividing, I don't need to worry about the sign switch and put x after the symbol though. Negative 1 plus 3 is 2. Okay, just be plus negative, so there's no multiplication or division to circle. So we just get the negative 3 to 0. So x, 2 plus 3 is 5. So the values are 2 and 5. You are going to circle both of them and fill them in. 2 and x, it's eating the x, okay. X and 5, it's eating the 5. So x, 2, and 5. Okay, so again, have to open towards the 5 and then open towards the x in that scenario. Okay, number 11. We have 8 plus 2x greater than or equal to 4, or negative 3x is greater than 30. So it's another one of those where I have 2 of them in the same problem, but they're already separated. So 8 plus 2x greater than or equal to 4, negative 3x greater than 30. Okay, so x is over here, 8 and 2 is a plus, 2 and x is times. You want to highlight the times, and since the 2 is positive, it's a keep. Now we do have this 8 we have to get to 0 on that side, so that step is for getting the 8 to 0. So we have 2 times x, 4 minus 8 is negative 4, then divide by 2. And I'm dividing each side by a positive, which is why the sign is not flipping. Okay, now over here, between 3 and x, that's multiplication. Again, you want to do something to highlight that operation because you have a negative, so that's a switch. Okay, there's no number outside you have to add or subtract, so you can go straight into your division by negative 3. I'm dividing each side by a negative, so that is when the sign switches. Negative 10, so you have negative 2 and negative 10. So you're going to circle. You're going to fill in the negative 2, but not the negative 10. So negative 2, it's eating the x, so that would go this way. Then if that goes that way, then the other one has to go the other way. They can't go in the same direction. So you got x, negative 2, that's greater than or equal. Then x, negative 10, and that's less. Okay. Okay, number 12, the absolute value of x minus 6 greater than or equal to 1. Okay, you got an absolute value, you need to make a table. And don't make it underneath, make it off to the side. Absolute values, we make the table off to the side. Okay. We'll figure out what to do after the table's been completed. Okay, so we got x minus 6 within the absolute value. And then we have an inequality. So we write the same inequality here and we flip it here. So we got d and 1. Okay. So 1, negative 1, and then you solve. So between x and 6, that'd be a plus negative. Don't have to circle anything, just get your negative 6 to 0 by adding. If you don't have multiplication division, don't circle it, just be add, subtract. Okay, same thing here. When I'm adding and subtracting, the sign doesn't change. So that's going to be 5. So 7 and 5. So I have 5, I have 7. So I circle and fill them both in. Eats the x, so that would be this way. Eats the value 5, so it goes this way. So that's an or. Sometimes those are or, sometimes they're just one line. Okay, that's why you got to follow the rules. x7, x5. 7 greater than equal, 5 less than or equal. Okay, 13 and 14. Number 13, more absolute value. You got the absolute value of 5x plus 2 equals 12. So again, like when I see absolute value, I need a table off to the side. So then within the absolute value, we have the expression 5x plus 2. Now there's no inequality, it's just an equals. So equals, equals. Now bring the d in. So we have a distance with 12. So 12, negative 12, then I solve. Okay. So between 5 and x, that's a times, plus. Now there's no sign to flip, so I don't have to worry about the keep switch. Okay. I just minus 2. To get 10, then I divide by 5, and I get 2. Okay, over here, same thing. Minus 2, this time it's negative 12 minus 2, and that's negative 14. Divide by 5. Negative 14 divided by 5 is negative 2.8. Now you're like, do I have to graph? No, you can't graph if it just says equals. Okay. I mean, there'd just be circles. They wouldn't go in any direction. Okay, number 14. 3, absolute value x plus 2 plus 4 equals 13. Do not distribute there. Okay. So within the absolute value, we have the expression x plus 2. Then it's just an equals. But the d is not solved for like it was here, okay? Or the problem before that one. Your d is going to have a multiplier of 3. And you can cross that out if you don't want to look at it anymore. And then a 4 has to be added, and then equals 13. Now we solve for d. We have to get our 4 to 0 by subtracting. That would be 9. Then we divide each side by 3. And that would be 3. So it could be 3 or negative 3. Remember, if d is equal to a negative, you stop and put no solution. Okay, so there's just a plus 2, so don't circle, just get the 2 to 0. So that would be 1. No, what am I circling? There's no times. Okay, minus 2, that would be negative 5. Okay, then we get into the story problems, number 15. Your goal in history is that should be 2, is to get a 90 average for your test. So far you've gotten 95, 86, and 93 on your test. Write and solve an inequality of possible scores you can get on your test to meet your goal. So the word goal is greater than or equal. What is the goal? To get a 90 average. Then, to write a simplified average expression, we know we need to divide. Well, we're not actually going to ever divide, but we put the bar there. Now, how many tests are we taking? 1, 2, 3, but we're about to take a 4th one. So there's 4 things that need to be added across the top. So you got 95 plus 86 plus 93, and then the 4th one I haven't taken, so plus x. Now simplify that. You can't divide because you don't know what your x is, but you can sure add the ones that you've already taken. 95 plus 86 plus 93 is 274. So that's as simplified as we can get. Now, here's where people go wrong. The whole thing is divided by 4, okay? The whole expression is divided by 4. You need to times 4 first, okay? So you can cancel out the divide by 4. So 90 times 4 is 360. And over here I have x plus 274. Now the only operation I have is the plus. So I get the 274 to 0 by subtracting. So you have x, and I take 260 minus 360, minus 274, and that's 86. So I have 86, I circle, I fill it. Eats the x, so that would be this way. Right there. Okay, so we can get 86 or better on that next test, and my goal has been met. Okay, number 16. You have 200 feet of fence to put around a rectangular garden. The width of the garden is 40 feet. Write and solve an inequality of possible lengths of the garden. The word have means I can't go over it. Okay, 200. Okay, now to have the expression, you need to use a rectangle, and you're putting that 200 feet of fence on all 4 sides. Now label the sides with your L's and W's. So it's L plus W plus W that I'm putting that fence around. Now you can simplify that. There's 2 L's plus 2 W's. Now one of these variables has to be replaced. Okay. Well, I need to find the length, so I'm not going to replace L. W is 40 because it says the width is 40. So you put 40 in for W, and you need to take 2 times 40 then. So you have 2L plus 2 times 40. Well, 2 times 40 is 80, and 200. Now we're in a good position to solve. We have the L on this side. The operations are times 2 and plus 80. That's a keep because it's positive 2. We have to get the 80 to 0, so we're going to subtract 80. So 200 minus 80 is 120. Then divide by 2, and you have L and 60. Okay, so it's open towards the value, so the value goes that way. You can't ever exceed the value. Okay, last problem, number 17. You got this. You are cutting sheets from metal. Each metal should be 34.25 feet long and 30.85 feet wide. The length and width must be within. That word within means plus minus 0.1. So it can go over or under by 0.1 of the desired size. Write inequalities. There's an S there that represent the range of both the length and width. So the range, we use the number line and then the other two values, the highest and the lowest. But it says inequalities. There's an S there, so we need two of them. Don't put 0 in the middle, like I just did like an idiot. Okay, let's talk about the length, 34.25. So that within part means it's okay if you go over by 0.1 or under by 0.1. So if I add, I get 30.35, and when I minus, I get 30.15. 30.1. No, shoot, I screwed that up. That's going to be 34.35, and then minus it's 34.15. Okay. Okay, and then you just make a connection. Sorry, that went over it. Okay, you don't put 34.25 up there. A lot of people think you do that. You don't. You need to pick a variable. Let's put L, okay, because it says long. So on this side we got 34.35. On this side 34.15. This is the highest, so open it towards that. And then L is bigger than that, so open it towards that. Okay. Now the width, the same process, the other inequality. We have 30.85 plus and minus, that's your middle. And we're going to use the 0.1 again since they didn't give me another variation amount. So add, you get 30.95, minus you get 30.75. So I'll show my work here, 30.95, 30.75. Connect them, and you have your range. That's how you do a range. One in the middle, two on the end. Now we put W, 30.75, 30.95.